in this house, it's a 3-bedroom house, but there is 5 of us, which we figured out is the only way that we could afford something like this in Lynn. So there's me and my partner Sean, and then there's Patrick and Cara, who are also a couple, and then there's Glenn. Yeah, so this place had a bath and it had a massive garden, and it was on my like favourite street in Lynn. I was obsessed like from the moment I saw it on Trade Me, and everybody was telling me not to get my hopes up, but we were really lucky, and the property manager pretty much gave us the lease like the next day. We only signed the lease 6 monthly, so there's always that chance that we won't be able to renew it for whatever reason, or the owners want to sell or something like that, which you kind of live in constant fear of, which is a byproduct of flatting. Me and Sean signed the lease on this place when we first moved in. This was the first place that it was just me and him on the lease. I was like, whoa, this is serious now. You have to get a bit hardline with your flatmates on occasion. But most of the time, like I'd say 90% of the time, it's pretty smooth sailing. That may be in part because it's not our first flat. But obviously the biggest thing is when people leave and you have to find someone else. That's always really stressful. And doing like flat auditions is horrible. I hate it. And that part's always really scary. If you feel like you're not going to have someone to pay the rent, that's you. That has to come out of your pocket, and that's always horrible. So that's something I dislike about being the leaseholder. But yeah, that thing of having strangers move in is bizarre, and those first couple of weeks when you've got someone new living in your house, especially if you're already established and you've got new people coming in. But again, I guess that's also an upside of flatting, is that you make friends, and that you like my first flat that I moved into, those people that I moved into it with are my best friends in the whole wide world now. We often think like, oh god, yeah, I'm so over flatting, I want to go just have our own place, but then you come home and if there's no one home you feel a bit sad. So I think that's just really indicative of our age at the moment. We're not totally sure what we want. We kind of want the best of both worlds. I don't imagine that it's too far off for us, but then I don't want to give up this house. So if we always just like joke about like, could we just get enough money to just outright buy this house, kick everyone else out and just have us here eventually. I hope my flatmates don't watch this. I think I'd rather be a little bit poor and live in a place where I can call it my home, and like my bedroom's my haven and things like that. Ooh, that sounds gross saying haven, but you know what I mean. I think that stuff is like mentally and emotionally so important for being happy, because I've lived in flats where you don't have that and it's actually miserable, and I found that it affected my work life and my relationships and stuff like that. So if you've got a place where you can truly be like, this is my house and I own it, and not own it literally, own it like figuratively, and if it, yeah, I think that's worth being a bit poor and having times where you're like, I can't believe I'm paying rent again, was it only a week ago that I paid that much money? And that is a constant worry, but for me the trade-off's worth it at this stage. And when I go travelling, we are going to have to move back into the parents' place for a couple of months and just recoup some funds, but I'm prepared to do that when necessary, and until then I quite like to lap it up here.